So, Krishna, welcome to Echoes of Jharna.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Lovely to be
it,
here.
it's nice to see you and have you here after 5 years. And we are
Yeah.
on our fifth edition, and it's uh, it's really down memory lane,
Yeah.
considering the space that we initially started Jharna with. And
Correct.
so, tell me, where are you right now in terms of your life and music?
Oh, that's a heavy question to start off with. Where am I right now with my life and music? Actually, personally, I would say, especially since you said coming back, to give little context, I played one of my first ever public shows of my own music at your space. And
Yes.
I remember that was a big moment for me because I played my own music and no covers, no other people music, no film music, nothing like that. And I still remember the response and the warmth that I was, given that day from that performance, and my family was in the crowd and all that.
Yes.
So especially with this question and thinking back to that to where I am now, I'm definitely very happy with how life has turned out and the choices I've made for myself. And
Wonderful.
tell you a little bit right now, I'm actually working on my first album, which has about 8 to 9 songs. And
Superb.
yeah, I've been in the studio for about the last 3, 4 months. And I've recorded instruments, and I've recorded my family for various things. And I've really reconnected with the music I grew up listening to and the music that, always sort of surrounded me from my childhood. And on the தமிழ்லயும் பேசலாமா in between?
Nichima, please, by all means.
Super.
So when you say
So
your first album is this is Tamil or is it multilingual?
So there will be maybe 1 or 2 songs which have other language
Nice.
distinct stuff to them, but it's a mainly fully Tamil album.
Yeah.
And இந்த வீட்ல சொல்ற மாதிரியே நீ ஒரு மாதிரி ஊர்லாம் சுத்திட்டு you'll come back home. So this album is a lot like that, where for the first time I've recorded instruments like tawil and nadaswaram, and even like
Beautiful.
saxophone inspired by Kadri sir. And I've recorded my grandmother, my mom, my dad, all these people whose music I've grown up listening to, and it's really like a homecoming of sorts. So that is actually the most how to say special part of my current life and work life. Apart from that, I'm doing a lot of advertising work and a lot of film work and scoring projects and all the stuff that keeps the lights and ACs on in my place.
Fabulous, but fabulous. I mean, I think you do require both. And
Yeah.
talking about this sort of a homecoming that you feel. I mean, funnily, when I saw your first video itself that you did, Oda de
Yeah,
Olian,
yeah, yeah.
uh, I felt the homecoming already,
Mm.
and such an honest representation of what you were going through and what's running in that youngsters. Not that you're not young anymore, but
Thanks for
that yeah,
that.
at that age, the mind,
Yeah.
and somehow it also took me personally back to that time, and things that you think about, and you where you want to change the world but you don't know how, and many things,
Correct.
those questions, so beautifully rendered, and without the extra stuff, and
Mm.
I really liked it. And I just want to
Thank you.
know, how do you find this, you know your your uh, uh, your nature, and
Mm.
that line that you have,
Mm.
versus uh, the commercial that you are now into, and what you have
Mm.
to do to run your ACs and fans. Do you feel it conflicting?
I also have lights and washing machines, by the way. To be frank, my first thing is that no matter what work it is, and I don't look down upon or judge any kind of work in the sense that advertising or anything, there is definitely a merit to each kind of work. So I do everything with as much honesty as I do everything else. But sometimes you have to give somebody else a space to affect your work, in the sense that a
Mhm.
director or a client or a production or an audience might want something from you that you need to provide as somebody who's a working professional in that space. So
Mhm.
it's always a balance of I've never sent out anything from my studio which I feel is uh, completely away from my DNA. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I've
Mm-hmm.
kept that as a professional ethic where I also set an expectation with the people who work with me that I have a certain way of doing things. And if you personally like what you hear, then
Mm-hmm.
let's work together. If
Nice.
you are expecting something from me that, is completely away and something I don't personally fully believe in,
Hmm.
I don't usually take up those things. And so
Lovely.
far, I've been able to not let too many people leave my studio, in that conversation because I've also grown up with a very eclectic influence of
Mm-hmm.
listening to, film music and international music and even like Carnatic music. And so wherever they're coming from, I'm able to see a little bit of what I like from what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to find that balance. And I think it's nice to be able to do my own thing, like with independent music and my own work. So I don't feel like I'm not getting a platform to express things that I fully want to express just in the way that I want.
Right.
If I didn't have that, maybe then I would feel like, I'm not putting myself out there
Mm-hmm.
in the way that I really want to,
Right.
and it's like since I'm able to do whatever I want in one area of my
One area.
life,
Yeah.
it's okay for me to be able to do different things on the other side.
So,
So if I was feeling creatively blocked constantly
yes.
by what other people want, maybe I would be dealing with a more issue related thing with what you said.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
because I'm able to literally do exactly what I want, exactly the way I want it, with exactly who I want in one space,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm very like free in that sense. Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, uh, that's great. I mean, you're really blessed to sense
I
that.
am.
Not, I mean, everybody has that, but not many people feel it, and
Mm.
also sense it and be it. You know, and that's wonderful. And you come from a family that's has a lineage of music,
Correct.
and as you rightfully said, you have a combination of different styles, and it's helped you open. Um,
Yeah.
so you render your voice, and you're a guitarist, you're a songwriter, and you also compose. Now, I want to know, how do you keep yourself framed? Meaning to say, like, how do you keep yourself in good stead with your
Mm.
voice, and with the even your skill with the instrument? And
Mm.
do you have a mentor you go to, or is it self-taught? um,
Mm.
what's that
That's what I
methodology?
like about you guys. You ask these questions that are so very like you can tell you guys are also artists because nobody else asks me like what do you do? What do you practice? All these things only come to us. So actually this is something I personally thought about very carefully and I noticed that the people I look up to somewhere they're incrementally getting better every year or they've incrementally gotten better every decade
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and they don't stagnate with the level of skill or the level of exposure or perspective at one point. Like somebody who inspires me is A.R. Rahman, for example. If you listen to him in the 90s and then the 2000s and then the
Yes.
2010s, he's adapted constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I've realized that I've only recently made a peace with discipline because growing up, discipline seemed like a bad word, seemed like a I don't know. It felt
Stifling.
everything. Yeah, it felt like everything opposite of being creative and free and all that. But
Right. Right.
actually, making my peace with discipline and being friends with it has led me to be more creative. So
I'd like to just focus on that word, discipline, because
yeah.
it's very, very important that it's coming from you,
Mm,
from a very young generation,
mm,
and to also re define it
yeah, yeah,
as in your creative space,
correct.
without losing the freedom. Okay, I'd
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you to let us know what that discipline has been for you.
Mm. So I think for me, discipline is basically it's something I'm very new to, but I would say that you need to almost parent your own artist. You know what I mean? Like some great artists come from families where the families have parented them to be great artists.
Right.
And that has its like good things and it has its bad things where you're forced to practice sometimes, you're forced to be a part of a system. My parents are very kind to me and very nice to me, and they didn't want to put me through all that, even though they knew I had some musical talent.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time where I realized, like, maybe if they'd put me more in one slightly more disciplinary environment, maybe my skills would be 10 times better. But the sort of individuality I have now might not have come if I went through that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sort of adapted to this thing where there's an artist me,
Mm.
like a personality or a persona,
Right.
and the adult in me is sort of parenting that artist to be his best
Wow.
self. So
Wow.
I've just broken it down into simple blocks that I'm able to achieve. So every week, I booked myself a vocal coach. I have one class with him per week.
Okay.
And I have a teacher who I learn advanced music production, mixing, mastering, all the technical side of things that I need to learn about.
Okay.
And with this album, sometimes I will feel like I'm not ready yet to go record it, but actually
Mm-hmm.
I will be. But it's
Mm-hmm.
more a procrastination of one more week and I'll make it better.
Right.
Nothing is true in that sense. It's
Yes,
going to be the
absolutely.
same. So
Exactly.
I will go ahead and say, like, today's Thursday, I will say on Monday you have a session. I will go ahead and
Do it.
book it and pay for it. So I have no choice but to go
To do
into
it.
that.
Very
And
nice.
slowly the resistance and the sort of, yeah, the resistance to go into that inertia, like go out of that inertia and
Ah,
move into the actual thing, that starts reducing, and it's a more natural thing. It's like if you
beautiful.
start waking up at 4 a.m. one day, the second week you're going to wake up easier. Your body sort of adapts to it. And I'm making discipline very peaceful for me. Like, I realize that practice should not feel like I set a time and then I practice exactly that. And that's too structured for me.
Right.
So I have small checks, like before I go to sleep. I play a lot of different instruments. I play piano, I play
Mm-hmm.
guitar. There's a lot of different kinds of guitar I play. I started learning the flute a year back. So I
Nice.
decided every night before I sleep for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, I will practice. And it's not practice, it's play.
Right.
So the difference between practice and play has been a huge shift for
Mm.
me, because
Mm.
while playing also I'm practicing, but
Mm.
the sort of intention with which I do it is different.
Mm.
So ever since I sort of understood how to actually train myself to be the best version of myself, and it's not the same for everybody. This works for me. You might be different. Satyana might be different. So I
Right.
think it's very important to understand what works for you and sort of find how you can fit those pockets into your daily life instead of have one larger in 1 year, I will become an ustad sort of goal, at least for me. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
I mean, this is so, so inspiring. I can't, I mean, uh, it's come from some sort of a leisure. I mean, how is it that this introspection, at such a young age, it's, I mean, I find a lot of leisure, obviously, and
Mm.
how did you manage that leisure in
I wasn't
today's
paying a
world?
lot of attention in school, so that's where I got all this time to think
Okay.
about it.
I know. You took a gap year, didn't you?
No, I didn't
You
actually.
didn't.
I
Okay.
worked the same
Okay.
3 years. I worked as an assistant director on a film because I want to be a filmmaker also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I've taken a lot of gap years in different contexts, but not in the traditional
Okay. So
context.
I can easily say the leisure comes from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's wonderful to note this, and I think this kind of sharing is very important to this generation and the younger generation to come, especially in a creative setup.
Yeah,
And I mean, thanks to your family who have beautifully supported this thought process.
absolutely. Yeah.
And so I wanted to also know Jharna, we just put together that Jharna, at that point,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
first edition was, we were all new to it, and we wanted to do so much, and we wanted to showcase youngsters
Mm,
and never seen before kind of a idea. And
correct.
when that opportunity came to you,
Mm,
how did you
mm,
feel, and how did you sense the space that you were,
mm,
in?
mm. I have to be very honest. Like, I have a lot of respect for you and Satyana as artists, and I see you guys as people who have very high aesthetic and artistic sense and sensibilities.
Thank
So
you.
I was petrified to
Oh
come
God.
perform at your place. I was like, my like little pop songs, I'm gonna go sing in this great hall with where like all these people know everything. So I remember I called Satyana because I know you guys for a long time. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. Is this okay? Will I get in trouble for anything I say? It's like something I've never played. Like, and I
Hmm.
played that whole thing as a format actually. It was a
Hmm.
storytelling format that I
Yes, yes,
actually sort of wrote very recently, and then I tested it out at
hmm
Jharna, and it went great. So yeah, all things considered, it was beautiful actually, and that was the first time I allowed my parents and my family to come watch a show because
Okay.
they're also, friends of yours, and they were like, you
I
can't
know.
stop me from coming to their show. They will invite me if you
Yeah,
don't.
true, true.
Yeah. So yeah, I have very nice memories, and I remember Satyana saying, "Just go for it. We want something new, and we want something like experimental. So if there's anything you want to try out, I think this is the time for it, and this is the space for it. So go ahead." So I
Yeah.
think you guys were very sweet
No,
with.
I must say, just as you finished the performance, I still remember that we were also breaking free from the shackles of the so-called traditional format of
Mm,
things. Okay,
mm,
and uh, it was very freeing for us, and it gave us the confidence that our concept, idea, whatever you can call it, is will work, or and it's not about work, but this is what we have to do.
mm.
And so I still cherish that aspect of having somebody young like you doing totally out of the box stuff in that space. And it
I'm
was
glad.
it and I the story, see, like, it's a space of music, dance, drama, whatever, but what you brought to the space also was that story, that
Yeah.
bhava, as we can call it. It was just not a genre of just music, but
Mm.
with that element of that emotion, which is beautiful, and
Thank you. Thank you.
that's very special about you. So there's another question that we have. So were there elements of Jharna experience that influenced your performance or your creative choices at that time? You had the space, so um, did you make that creative choice and say, yes, okay, now I'll go for it, kind of a thing, or were you playing it safe? And
I think mainly how when I look back, I think an artist has several moments where it's almost like a affirmation. Like you have moments of affirmation where you put out your sort of ideas which are completely unique to your life experience and completely unique to your sort of perspective. And a lot of times when an artist puts out something that's not quite uh, uniform with what's already out there,
mm,
you can be met with a lot of different kinds of responses, and those become affirmations for different things that you
right.
should, sort of try to confine, you should try to do that. But I look at moments in my artistic journey in the last 5 years and a lot of affirmations that helped me get where I am now,
Hmm.
where I am completely confident in trying my thing out. I have no fear.
Beautiful.
I don't pull myself back. I don't make myself smaller. I'm trying to shine brighter and trying to get myself out there in a more as close to my real self as possible. And I definitely look back on that Jarna performance as one of them. A
Lovely.
moment of affirmation where I tried something out, and the audience and the people were so receptive and warm towards new ideas, new things to be said.
Lovely.
And I actually look for that energy in cities and spaces. Like for
Mm.
me, New York is something like that, where people really flock to
Yes.
see new experiences, and sort of they want to see somebody try something out new. And I think
Hmm.
that's beautiful. And I think in pockets of society, we should also develop that sort of
Absolutely.
audience mindset and that sort of energy in the audience. And I think you guys definitely did that, and I surely benefited from that.
Yeah, we are really hoping we could, because sometimes it's very divided, oh, you're doing
Yeah,
pop, or you're doing a different genre of music, and this is
yeah,
something classical. So how do we? But there should be a space where everything works.
for sure. For sure.
And we're just also hoping to present you yet again at Jharna.
I would love to.
Lovely. And we're going to have a rapid fire.
Oh,
Okay.
great. I will take 15 minutes for each question.
At leisure. Okay. So a song that never fails to get you moving.
I think I gotta go with a classic. I think Chaya Chaya. I think my grandchildren will move to that. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It never misses.
my favorite too. So your go-to jam when you need a boost of energy.
Vetrik Kodigattu from Padayappa.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Yes,
Thank you.
nice. Okay, so if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing now?
Filmmaker.
Okay, fine. It's almost the same. Anything else?
If you want to hear that I would have been an accountant, I'm very sorry to disappoint.
I thought a farmer.
A farmer? No, I don't have the patience for that.
Okay, but nice. One
Yeah.
thing you always remind yourself before stepping onto stage.
The audience wants you to do well.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this session here at Echoes.
Thank you. Thank
And
you for having me.
thank you so much, Krishna. It's been a delight, and I'm quite fortunate to have done this. I was just wondering how would I do this interview. I'm not used to all this thing, blah blah blah. But anyway, I'm so happy and so inspired, and wishing you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My
Okay,
pleasure.
and
See you
take care.
soon.
Yeah, bye
Thank you.
bye.